6-3.
Mr. Williams is present.
All right, we ready to proceed?
We are, Judge.
Mr. Williams, you want to take a stand? Want to raise your right hand and be sworn, sir? You solemnly swear affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Please be seated.
Good afternoon, Travion. Your full name is Travion Williams Jr., correct?
Yes.
Okay, Travion, how old are you?
20 years old.
And your date of birth?
April 17th, 1994.
And where do you presently live, your permanent address?
8822 Fifth Street, Highland, Indiana.
That's here in Lake County. And presently you are enrolled in college?
Yes.
Where at?
Ivy Tech.
Ivy Tech and what?
College in Bloomington, Indiana.
In Bloomington, Indiana. Travion, we're here to ask the court today for a hardship license to allow you to travel to and from your home in Highland, school and back, as well as to attend a court appearance. Is that correct? Yes. Travion, your license is based on a license suspension for a pending charge of OWI of Bloomington County. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your license has never been previously suspended for any reason, correct?
Yes.
Travion, you have alternative means to get to and from school, that 3.5 hour drive.
Yes.
You do? That would be your mother?
Yes.
But that would work a hardship on her to have to take time from work to get you back and forth from school over the break and things of this nature. Correct. So you're asking the court today to allow you to have the privileges so you can go to and from school and to and from court. Is that correct?
Yes.
Travion, the petition which you signed under oath details the routes to and from school. That is correct and accurate route, correct?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Madam Prosecutor. Cross.
Your Honor, I would also like to introduce Deputy Prosecutor Bazzanella.
Okay, Mr. Bazzanellis.
Mr. Williams, do you work?
No.
So then the driving that was the basis of the typical charge, that wasn't related to your employment or anything like that, is that correct?
No, I was coming home from school.
Okay. And have you ever held a driver's license anywhere but the state of Maine?
Actually, yes. Illinois when I first.
Were you ever suspended in Illinois?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. I do believe Mr. Williams qualifies.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Williams. You may step down. All right, court will grant the petition. Today's the 9th.
Yes, sir. That's good.
You're welcome. New Jersey, there's a statute that says you gotta go into court for the care of it. I don't know. So, motion set this aside. Once the state gets it, because it had statutes where the case is pending, that's where you gotta file. You know, I'm fairly certain you can file it in a case where it's pending. I also thought, no, I haven't looked in a long time, I also thought it was a county of residence that you can do it. But if I'm the statute, I may very well. I bet you they'll file. Okay. All right, next case is Stephen Augustine versus Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 CO1, 1409, MI 134. Good afternoon, Mr. Bazzanellis. Mr. Samadelis. You ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you want to take a stand?
Raise your right hand and be sworn. Solemnly swear firm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Okay.
Stephen, please take your full name.
Stephen Constantine,
Your date of birth.
6/12/1989.
The last four digits of your social security.
377.
Stephen, you are employed
Correct.
where?
Olive Garden in Maryville.
You also go to school
Yes, it is.
where?
Big time.
And you also have a child, is that correct?
Yes, I do.
How old is your child?
13 months.
And are you required to provide child care duties?
Yeah.
Or what would that include?
When his mother's at work, I take custody of him at her house in Buffalo.
Would it be fair to say that you have joint custody?
Yes.
You were arrested for OWI on July 21st, 2014. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In the course of that arrest, you were asked to submit to a chemical test for intoxication. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you did submit to the test. Is that correct?
Correct.
Has your driver's license ever been suspended? Well, as a result of that arrest, you have been suspended. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this has caused you a hardship in going to and from work,
Yeah.
and also going to and from school,
Correct.
and also as to your child.
Yeah.
Child care. How have you been managing at this point?
My mom has really stepped up, as well as my girlfriend has helped out when she can.
But this is, your mom works full-time, correct?
Yes, she does.
And it's a hardship on her to try and get you where you need to be.
Definitely.
And as with your girlfriend, is that also true?
That is correct.
Now, you have never been arrested for operating while intoxicated, is that correct?
Correct.
And your license has never been suspended for operating while intoxicated, is that correct?
That is correct.
And we're asking the court to grant you a hardship license to drive to and from work, to and from school, and also for daycare, child care services for your child. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Nothing further.
Pass.
Mr. Augustine, your license was never suspended for an alcohol-related offense before, but was it suspended?
Yes.
Was it suspended at the time of this chemical test refusal?
I don't believe so.
Perhaps out of the Porter County failure to pay, suspended since August of 2013.
I was unaware of that. I made a mistake.
I have no further questions.
Okay. Eddie?
Nothing, Your Honor, except that if in fact there is an indefinite suspension due to failure to pay, that would still not disqualify him for a hardship license under the OWI statute. So we would ask the court to grant him a hardship license.
Your Honor, I do believe he would be eligible if the OWI suspension was the only one. However, he has indefinite suspensions out of two other counties, Porter County and Marshall County, for failing to pay tickets. I don't believe that the remedy would be found within the hardship license. I believe he needs to pay those.
And then-
And the OWI, just the OWI.
Then seek the hardship license.
I'm sorry?
Pay those, then seek the hardship license.
I believe he'd be eligible if
He'd be reinstated if
he would, if you would like me to approach, I do have a copy of his driving record, but it is two failure to pay out of,
that's why he's suspended, not for the OWI?
he's suspended for that as well, but Marshall County and Porter County have been suspended indefinitely.
Your Honor, I would ask if you would consider granting this petition subject to him clearing up these indefinite suspensions, and I'm sure he will do that immediately.
But she's saying he'd be eligible.
No, Your Honor, he would be eligible for the hardship license if he did not have these pending indefinite suspensions. If he cleared those up.
Maybe we should clear those up first. Because, I mean, he can't drive with the hardship license, can he? If he's got a
He should
suspension.
be suspended on his indefinites.
Correct.
Want me to reset this and you clear them up? Get the other 2 tickets cleared up? I mean, I don't see,
Unless we did it subject to that, and showing proof to the court that he has taken care of those.
I would not object to it.
subject to it?
Proof.
All right, you want to do another order?
I'll put together another order, Your Honor.
All right. You'll submit another order?
Yes.
I'll just toss these. I'll pitch these.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Unless you want them back.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
All right, so you understand what we're doing? Okay. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bradley Colburn was Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 45 CO1, 1411, MI 157.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
We are ready to proceed.
Okay. Sir, want to raise your right hand and be sworn? You solemnly swear affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, I do.
Please be seated.
Bradley, will you state your name for the record?
Brad Colbert,
And how old are you currently?
I'm 31,
What's your date of birth?
5/20/83,
Where do you currently reside?
1088-2 Miami Street, Northland, Indiana.
Are you currently employed?
Yes.
And where are you employed?
Ryan's Anchor Lounge.
And that is located at 9201 East 190 Crown Point, is that correct?
Yes.
You're here today to ask this court to issue you a probationary license to allow you to go from home to work. Is that correct?
Yes.
Currently, you're suspended as a result of being deemed a habitual traffic violator. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the Bureau of Motor Vehicles suspended you for that reason back on December 5th of 2008. Is that correct?
Yes, that is.
So more than 5 years have passed since the date of the incident.
Yes.
And have you violated the conditions of your habitual traffic violator status by driving?
No.
And previously, had you completed any alcohol rehabilitation class?
Yes, I have.
Where was that?
South Lake Mental Health.
And Bradley, you've never been convicted of a Class D felony or Class C felony under Indiana Code 9-30-5-4, correct?
No, here, yes.
And you haven't been convicted of a Class C felony or Class D felony under Indiana Code 9-30-5-5, correct?
Yes.
And you've never been deemed a habitual traffic violator prior to that 2008 date?
That's correct.
You've never received a hardship license under this particular statute, is that correct?
Yes, that is.
Is it fair to say that your only method of traveling to and from work is by use of a motor vehicle?
Yes.
And the income you produce at your job, does that help pay the household bills for yourself and your family?
Yes, it does.
I have no further questions.
Cross exam?
Yes, sir. Sir, the driving that was connected with the OWI, was that involving your work at all?
No.
And the conviction in 2009, was that for a felony?
Yes, I was.
And how many operating while intoxicated type offenses have you been convicted of?
3.
And would that be a reckless driving, an operating while intoxicated misdemeanor, and an operating while intoxicated felony?
Yes.
And have you operated a vehicle after December 5th of 2008?
No.
Are you aware that you have an indefinite suspension listed on your driving record for a failure to pay out of good opinion?
I am not aware of that. I've been down to Tippecanoe to close my case and close my probation a couple years ago, and I believe everything was taken care of. This is the first I've heard of it since then.
I have no further questions.
Anything else, Counsel?
Judge, I just have no problem.
Your probation is closed until the Butte County?
Yes.
And they did not violate probation?
No.
So it's probably fair to assume that you paid all your obligations?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Okay. Anything?
Nothing, Your Honor, only that if his probation is satisfactorily closed out in Tippecanoe County, it should not show as an indefinite suspension on his driving record. I would indicate to the court that it does. That may be an error. He may not have known because he simultaneously had an HDV suspension that they were operating at the same time, but a satisfactorily closed probation should not have a failure to pay suspension. If that is in error, then I do believe he qualifies.
Okay, well,
I agree. He fits all the statutory requirements.
how do we handle this problem, which
This could be a situation just like Mr. Sonstell's prior to him, where we just need to call down.
you want to clear it up and submit an order?
I have an order.
Right.
If I could submit a new order, saying subject to the Tippecanoe.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay.
All right. I'll grant the petition subject to the matter in Tippecanoe County being resolved.
Thank you.
Okay. Marlo Sakal with the State of Indiana Bureau of Motor Vehicles, 45 CL1, 1402 MI30.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge, we are.
Call your witness, call your client. Ma'am, you want to raise your right hand and be sworn? Do you solemnly swear, affirm, tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Please be seated.
Would you please state your full name and spell it for the record?
Marlo Marissa Sakal, M-A-R-L-O, M-R-I-S-S-A, S-A-K-A,
What's your date of birth, Marlo?
2168.
And where do you currently reside?
In Meriden, 300 West Command Avenue.
Okay. You did at one point hold a driver's license with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
Yes.
Those driving privileges are currently suspended because you're a habitual traffic violator, correct?
Yes.
And what you wanted this court to review was your final operating while intoxicated conviction, which happened in the state of, or in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, correct?
Yes.
When did that happen? Do you remember?
It happened within 2 years, February 1st.
Okay, so it's February of 2013?
Yes.
Okay. And you were stopped down there?
Yes.
Do you know what the reason was that you were stopped by an officer in Kentucky?
Actually, I was on the side of the road and I hit on the side barrier.
Okay.
And then I called the police.
Okay.
There was an accident.
So you called the police?
Yes.
And an officer arrived?
Yes.
Okay, had you been drinking before you were involved in this accident?
Yes.
Okay. How much had you had to consume?
I really don't recall. I mean, I don't did that. I was probably 3 or 4 drinks, but I don't recall.
Okay, 3 or 4 drinks in what kind of a time period?
I don't recall, seriously.
Okay. Did the officer who arrived on the scene offer you any kind of a field sobriety test?
No.
Okay. Were you arrested?
At that time,
Your
yes.
Honor, I'm going to object to this line of questioning as I don't believe that it's relevant to the purpose that we are in court today.
Just whether she qualifies or not, counsel.
Well, Judge, I think the statute has enough latitude to have you determine whether or not an offense which was committed in a foreign jurisdiction would qualify as a companion offense under Indiana law. She says that she's been convicted of an OWI offense in Kentucky, and what we believe and what we want the court to review is whether the facts that gave rise to this OWI conviction in Kentucky would also serve as an OWI conviction in Indiana, which would then subject her to HGV.
Your Honor, at its basis, I believe counsel Council's issue is...
Was she
that-
convicted in Kentucky?
Yes.
She was, and I believe that's what she's going to...
Well, so you're asking me to second guess a conviction that's already been entered?
Well, no, I think what I'm asking the court to do is to review whether the conviction would qualify as a conviction under Indiana law.
This court is not the correct place.
So don't we have to
This
give-
is the review of individual traffic.
I mean, full faith and credit?
We do, but we certainly don't need to penalize her under our statute and name her as an HTV, which is what the petition for judicial review...
So is she an HTV in Kentucky?
No, she's HTV under our statute. She's an Indiana resident.
Well, how is this going to take her out? What you're arguing going to take her out of the HTV statute?
What we're trying to say is that she was basically forced into entering into a plea of guilty down there because under Kentucky law, it was an infraction. She wasn't entitled to an attorney. She signed off on a piece of paper down there, and this is what the evidence...
You mean a DUI in Kentucky is an infraction?
Under this is... Absolutely. She signed off on a plea of guilty down there in order to be released. They wouldn't release her. They wouldn't give her bond. That's what the testimony from her would be. What I'm saying is that under Indiana law, we wouldn't do that here.
You're trying to tell me in Kentucky they make you plead guilty or you stay in jail?
No, what I'm saying, Judge, is that there are a number of different levels of offense for an alcohol-related offense in that state. This is what they charged her with was the least. It was basically like a traffic citation. Was even given a TR cause number in the county in Kentucky where she was stopped. Under our law, it would be either a misdemeanor or a felony. Under their law, it would be either a traffic citation, a misdemeanor, or a felony.
What would a DUI be under? Maybe it would be more serious under our law.
Well, what I'm saying is that we have two levels of offense here for the same
An
type.
A misdemeanor, right?
It would be either a misdemeanor or a felony.
Okay, and down there it's either an infraction or a misdemeanor?
Infraction, a misdemeanor, or felony. And what I'm saying is that the way that she was treated down there was that she wasn't given her right to counsel. They basically held her for a number of days. She got to the point where she said, "Are you going to let me bond out?" She wasn't afforded that opportunity. They told her, "Here, sign this and we're going to let you go." And that's what she did. And then later, a number of months later, she finds out that she's HTV.
So you're telling me they held her in jail on an infraction? It's an infraction, they held her in jail?
That would be her testimony, Judge.
Well, that testimony does not make a lot of sense. How could they hold you in jail if it's an infraction?
That's her testimony, Judge.
Well, I think we need a little bit more evidence than just her telling us that. Wouldn't you agree, counsel?
I don't know what other evidence I can bring in, short of subpoenaing somebody from out of state to come up here for a HTV hearing, Judge.
Well, would she qualify without this argument?
She would not qualify without this argument, Judge.
Why?
She hasn't had enough time elapsed since the date of the offense.
Oh, so you're trying to take her out of the HTV statute altogether?
Correct. We're not asking for a hardship license, Judge.
Your Honor, I believe that it's not properly before this court to review the elements.
I mean, isn't that an administrative review?
Judge, the way that I read the statute is that our statute allows a petition for judicial review under this. I mean, I understand this is uncommon. It's atypical.
For a hardship license?
No, not for a hardship license, Judge. The court correctly pointed. We're not asking for a hardship. We're asking
For a judicial review?
Correct. That she's not.
But that's after an administrative action. If you file an action with the administrative body, which made her an HDV, and they denied your petition, then you can ask the court for administrative review. Then we have to have a hearing and have to do findings and conclusions. And I don't think I can do it based on this vehicle that you're using here.
Correct.
And you may very well be right, but I think you need to file something with the state of Indiana first.
That would be my understanding.
If that's the court's ruling, then that's the court's ruling. Then we'll
Well, I mean, I don't. I don't, see, first of all, there has to be a determination and an appeal of that, and then there has to be a record that I have to review to find that they were wrong. But I don't have that, or find that their decision was arbitrary or whatever. In any administrative proceeding, I mean, the hardship licenses, there's no dispute as to whether or not the convictions are there, just now this person has,
Correct. Correct.
it meets the requirements of a hardship license.
Correct.
So I would suggest that may be what you might want to try.
Very well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Continue, Johnny, or tonight?
Yeah, I won't deny, I'll just continue this and let you go, maybe you can file it under the same cause number or whatever.
Very well. That's what we'll do then, Judge.
All right. Okay. Next case. Brian Snyder was Commissioner of Motor Vehicles, 4501-1412 MI-169.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I read your right hand, be sworn. You solemnly swear to affirm, tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Have a seat there.
Sir, can you state your name, please?
Brian Matthew Snyder,
And your date of birth?
4/13/83.
Your current address, 3023 Parkway Street, North Hammond, Indiana.
Correct, sir.
And currently, as of today, you have a driver's license,
I do.
but you received a notice in the mail that stating that your license is going to be suspended from December 15, 2014 to March 15, 2015.
That is correct.
And why is your license going to be suspended during that 3-month time period?
I was in a motor vehicle accident, and I was unknowingly driving without motor vehicle insurance.
And why did you not have insurance on that day?
I had lost my wallet, my insurance was attached to my debit card. I never received notification from GEICO that my insurance was lapsing. I went through a process with the Bureau of Insurance and the United States Postal Service. It was determined that they did have proof of mailing for a letter I did not receive. It was never my intention to drive without vehicle insurance. I've never done that, and I never would do that knowingly.
So this has never happened before?
Correct, sir.
And are you working?
I am, yes.
And where do you work?
It's called Automation and Control Services in Cherryville, Indiana.
And do you go to school?
I do.
And that's at Purdue University Calumet?
Correct.
And you have a son?
I do. He's 5-year-old.
He's attending daycare?
Correct.
And not being able to drive to school or bring your son to daycare would be a hardship on you?
Absolutely.
And for those reasons, you're asking the court to issue a hardship license for the time period that you would be suspended?
I am.
No further questions?
Cross?
Have you obtained car insurance since that date?
I do.
Do you have, with what company?
It's with GEICO. I have proof. It's in my code.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. I do believe he's
All right.
sufficiently.
Sir, you may step down. Court's go find it. He's lapsed in insurance is inadvertent, and we'll grant the petition.
Judge, and I have a proposal.
I got it right here. Is this one okay?
Excellent. Thank you.